Good evening, and thank you again for clicking on my channel. Um, I literally just finished reading Panettiere's "This Is Me, The Reckoning," and what a read it was. Um, if you're familiar with Panettiere, I feel like I'm always murdering her name. I'm so sorry, Hayden. I love you. Um, if you're familiar with her work, then no need in me having to go into details. But if you're not, then here we are. So she um, basically started acting at the age of, I don't know, 18 months from doing like commercials. And then I think like at the age of 5, um, doing like bigger ads. And I think at 9, if I'm not mistaken, she landed her first major role um, in Remember the Titans with Denzel Washington. And then so on with voice acting in A Bug's Life, Racing Stripes, then on to do Heroes, which it was a huge major success. Um, from then was Nashville, then, a little film called Scream 4. Don't know if you've ever heard of it. And Scream 6, right? Um, and then she's done some voice work in like games and whatnot. Um, so this book dives into trauma from past relationships to postpartum, um, the dealings with alcohol, um, basically abusing it, especially after the fact that going through postpartum, the only way she could deal with it was um, drinking. And um, Nashville apparently was basing her real life to her character in the show. Um, for those who are familiar with Nashville, then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But when she was pregnant, to her not being able to pick up her baby and have that mother child bonding experience, and drinking to relapsing, then going into treatment. That I For a moment, because I'm just like, I'm you know I, I'm not familiar with how things work in Hollywood because I'm not an actor. Always wanted to be one, but that didn't pan out for me. So, um, but watching that, I was just like, wow, she is like so talented. Like, I'm really feeling her, like what she's going through, And then to hear her say that they were literally grabbing from what was in the tabloids to putting it into the script, and her basically reliving her life or those moments all over again, which has got to be very traumatic. Um, and Going to when she met um, Vladimir. He is, if you're not familiar, he is one of the world's heavyweight champions, boxing champion. Um, He's from the Ukraine. They had a brief relationship, and that's who she has her daughter with, and she lives with him in the Ukraine. Um, the book, really dives into that and so much more, from her horrible relationship with, um, I'm not really familiar with who the guy is, so it's probably no point in saying his name. But he was very abusive to her, and it seemed like it began with every time they got drunk, he turned abusive, and um, I say this with the most love and respect for anyone, and I feel like it's a lot of like women who go through this. Um, if you yourself or you know anybody who is going through this, please get help or seek help. I mean, you shouldn't have to put yourself through that. Don't don't put excuses saying he's not normally like this. He loves me and he would never do that again. Let's not do that. Let's not do I mean, um you have to do things for yourself in order to survive, and you should not be in a toxic relationship. Um anyway, with all that being said, and then her losing her brother, basically it was either when Scream 6 came out or when they were in production. I think it was when it came out. So I think she said it was like February 20th or something like that. She got that phone call and her brother had died, which has got to. I couldn't even imagine. I mean, I know what it's like losing a mother, um, but someone who you're like really close to, as if they're your twin. Um, couldn't imagine. I really could not imagine. Um, and then rewinding from like when it first started, the whole acting situation came from her mother. Her mother is the one who, basically, like I said, from when she's an infant, putting her in commercials, ads, whatever. That was all her. And I've heard, certain situations from like, oh, you got your momager with you, and she's like calling the shots and whatever. Um, Hayden, that is, did not want to disappoint her. Like from when she's getting older and when she's able to talk, um, she might have like flubbed some lines and didn't get the part, and her mom would be mad at her. She's like, "I drove all this way and you didn't get the part. Do you know how far of a drive this is?" And things like that. And it's almost like her mom was trying to live vicariously through her, because apparently she was an actress but didn't really fulfill her acting career as she wanted to. But I guess in this case, Hayden actually really enjoyed acting, and that's kind of what she knew. She didn't have a normal upbringing, and when she was trying to go to school, kids would taunt her. So she didn't really get to make any friends. Even some of the teachers would, in a sense, bully her, which I think is kind of sad. Like, how are you gonna bully a kindergartner? That's not cute. You know. Um. So eventually, she started doing like homeschooling. Um. And then here hearing the tale of like when she moved. She basically lived in New York her whole life, but I'm trying to remember where she moved. It was like either like Pennsylvania or something like that. And she had a friend who was like lived on the street, like a neighbor, and then that neighbor, um, they were walking to another neighbor's house. It's like, oh, this neighbor has some puppies, and she's walking up to the house, and a guy answered the door, and she was like, he really looked familiar, but I couldn't place the face or like where maybe I knew him from. And she's like, um, uh, did you ever work with my father? Because you look really familiar. And he's like, maybe. What does your father do? And she's telling him. And then her friend was like, Hayden, do you not know who that is? And she's like, no, who is it? She's like, Hayden, you're so funny. That's Bill Murray. And I'm like over here dying. I like I would love to just like hear Bill Murray. And he probably don't even remember that story because he's older. But I'm wondering like if he does, like, does he remember that? Like, do you remember a little girl coming up to your house and then literally down the street she she lived near um Bjork. Like, what is that? Like, wow. Um, but overall, like Hayden really went through some shit. I mean, I most of it. I mean, I can't say most of us do, but we all do go through some things in our lives, trials and tribulations, and sometimes it builds us, it strengthens us, it builds character, but like from being in the eye and paparazzi targeting you, and you're at a certain age, and then them taking pictures, kind of like your ass, and then like putting cellulite over that. That's so not cool. Um, and then people wonder why like women have body like like eating disorders or whatever because they're fucking scared of being targeted or being talked about. Um, um, and and then her talking about who she thought was a friend of hers would take her to certain places, and she'd say, "Oh, just trust me." There's two scenarios. Like one was like what Hayden thought was a party, and she gets there and it's like mostly guys, and she's feeling a little weird about it, and she stays for the majority, and then she's about to leave, and this well known producer, like Academy Award winning producer. She doesn't give a name, but I'm really trying to figure it out. Comes up to her and said basically saying like, "Oh, I must have stepped in some gum, and then now some gum has gotten on me." She's like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah, some gum has gotten on me. Like, can you see it?" And she's saying like his balls are literally out of his pants. And how disturbing is that? And she's like, "I'm 19 years old, and this, however old this guy is, is doing that to a young girl. Like, how perverted are you? That is so fucking gross. That grosses me out, and I'm like, why, and how would you do that? And then the same friend is saying, hey, we should go on a trip. Like I think we're gonna go to Venice, and then we're gonna just like lay out on the boat, and just have a little fun time, have some drinks, and just hang out. She's like, okay, that sounds really cool. And so she does that. It seems really cool. And then eventually she's like, oh my god, like I have someone I want you to meet. She's like, who else could be here? Like, I feel like I met everybody. She's like, no, there's somebody else down below. And so she's taking her down below, and she's like, uh, yeah, here's this guy. He's in bed, and like, want you to get in bed with him. And she's like, he has a big dick. And she's like totally freaked out and probably cringed in that moment. And I think after that moment, she's never spoken to that person anymore. And so she rushed out of there, went to her room, like on the boat. And as soon as they got to where they needed to, she got a room somewhere and got the fuck off that boat. Um, but yeah, she's definitely been through some moments, um, from abusive moments to paparazzi to postpartum, um, the whole drinking situation. But she seems like right now she seems like she's in a better place, and I hope for her sake. I mean, I hope everything's better, and hope to see maybe some more stuff from her as far as acting is concerned. Because I really do think she's pretty talented. Um, but the most important part is her being happy and healthy, and hopefully she'll get to spend some more time with her daughter. Her daughter, by the way, is 11 years old. If you can believe that. Um, but yeah, check out the book if you haven't already. Um, it's a really good read, and yeah, I'd just say take care of yourself, because most of us we only have ourselves to look out for, because not everybody has people to look out for them, you know. Um, but yeah, anyway, that's all I got for you today. When you do, let me know if you check it out, and leave some comments, and subscribe. That's all I got. All right, thanks. Bye. Mwah.